The epidemic cannot be concealed. CCP restarts nucleic acid testing. People are frightened. Report: 80 million Chinese public servants consume 40% of fiscal revenue, drawing significant attention. Xi Jinping in a panic? 11.79 million college graduates face unemployment. Moody's lowered outlook for Hong Kong, Macau, and 8 mainland banks. Emerging trend: middle-class Chinese flock to California in search of refuge. It's all covered in today's China Truths. The epidemic cannot be concealed. CCP restarts nucleic acid testing. People are frightened. China's ongoing epidemic is spreading, prompting the reinstatement of nucleic acid testing across different locations. On Wednesday, December 6th, a meeting at the CCP Beijing Convention Center mandated attendees to provide evidence of a negative nucleic acid test conducted within the past 24 hours for entry. This requirement was also observed a few days ago at an international conference in Guangzhou. Furthermore, residents in Beijing reported on Wednesday that the local epidemic situation is severe, leading to the initiation of nucleic acid testing at the airport. In addition to nucleic acid certificates, various provinces and cities have reinstated health codes. Mr. Long, a Beijing resident, expressed concern about the resurgence of stringent epidemic control measures implemented by the CCP over the past 3 years, evoking painful memories. Unexpectedly, these measures have returned. He estimated that if such strict control is imposed again, people will collapse in 3 months. Mysterious virus spreading? Public reports surge in death numbers. Chinese netizens are using the term 100 ghosts knocking on the door to depict a scenario where multiple pathogens are causing widespread chaos simultaneously. Some individuals are grappling with persistent high fever, undergoing tests for influenza A and B, mycoplasma, and even antigen tests, all of which yield negative results. Some have been coughing for over a month with no relief from any medication, resorting to enduring the symptoms. Similar cases are reported not only in Beijing but also in Xiamen and Shanghai, suggesting the quiet spread of a new virus. Mr. Chen, involved in the healthcare industry in Jinzhou, Liaoning, remarked, "Don't rely on the official numbers. Deaths in hospitals have significantly increased, and queues have begun to form." Despite the severe epidemic escalated across the country, authorities consistently downplay the situation, attributing it to common diseases like mycoplasma or the flu. As previously reported, recent revelations from CCP insiders indicate that party leadership has issued orders to downplay the epidemic, instructing to label it as a common flu and avoid mentioning the new coronavirus. China expert Wang He believes that it is essential to exert strong international pressure and articulate clear demands to the CCP. Without such pressure, the CCP may become more audacious, and the lack of public disclosure and transparency in data could lead to a catastrophic disaster for the international community. He points out that in this epidemic, there hasn't been a doctor like Li Wenliang blowing the whistle, indicating that the CCP's suppression and control have reached a new stage. The overall situation in China has significantly worsened, and Wang He stresses that the Chinese people must engage in self-rescue and can only depend on themselves. Report: 80 million Chinese public servants consume 40% of fiscal revenue, drawing significant attention. Recently, discussions have surged on the internet regarding the issue of 80 million public servants consuming 40% of fiscal revenue, amounting to approximately $1.4 trillion. On November 28, an article from Refuge, a subsidiary of Genrui Media, highlighted that there are about 80 million financially supported personnel in China, constituting nearly 5% of the national population. This group includes urban workers, such as civil servants, employees of public institutions, and state-owned enterprises. Their salaries, retirement expenses, and other costs primarily rely on financial appropriations. As per the article's presented data, the expenditure on the benefits of these financially supported personnel accounts for a substantial 40% of the national fiscal expenditure, approximately 10 trillion yuan, roughly 1.4 trillion US dollars. This considerable proportion has imposed significant pressure on fiscal investment in crucial areas like education and healthcare. In contrast, the incomes and retirement benefits of the majority of ordinary workers significantly lag behind. In 2023, the national average monthly wage is around 5,000 yuan, approximately $702.53, while the retirement pension of many financially supported personnel can surpass 10,000 yuan, approximately $1,405, twice that of ordinary workers. According to data from the Treasury Department's National Treasury Office in 2009, out of the nearly 54 million individuals financially supported, there were 38.15 million active personnel, 13.91 million retirees, and 1.8598 million others. Over the course of more than a decade, the number of financially supported individuals has grown by over 26 million. A user on Zhihu posed a critical question: with 80 million financially supported individuals, constituting 40% of tax revenue, why not streamline the relevant personnel? Do some organizations truly require such a large workforce? Some small county towns have as many as 2,000 to 3,000 active public servants. What's the cost of maintaining 2,000 to 3,000 people? I won't do the math, everyone understands. In certain governments, besides civil servants, they also hire temporary personnel. I don't comprehend why, with so many civil servants and allocated personnel, there's a need to recruit temporary workers to complete tasks. How much work remains unfinished? The user urges for streamlining government departments, enhancing the efficiency of government personnel, eliminating redundancy, and promoting a more efficient and lean government to alleviate the tax burden on the public. Returning to the original article, it highlights the distortion caused by the current dual-track salary and social security system in allocating social resources. It points out that financially supported personnel benefit from high-level pensions after retirement, often lacking motivation to continue working, while ordinary workers, with lower retirement incomes, feel compelled to work longer, resulting in an imbalanced allocation of human resources. The article urges the swift advancement of social security system reform to establish a unified and sustainable security system. The proposed reform direction involves integrating the basic old age insurance system for workers with the social old age insurance system for urban and rural residents, eliminating alienation. This ensures uniform coverage and benefits while dismantling the existing hierarchical system, establishing a new relationship of equal rights and obligations among members of society. Xi Jinping in a panic? 11.79 million college graduates face unemployment. In the backdrop of a 3-year impact of COVID-19 on the Chinese economy, which has struggled, it has become a widespread phenomenon for university graduates to confront unemployment upon completing their studies. As were reported before, some graduates are using lying flat graduation photos on social media, employing dark humor to express their resignation towards the harsh reality. However, the nightmare has not stopped there. On December 5, the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Human Resources and Social Security of China held a meeting in Beijing to deploy the employment and entrepreneurship work for the new generation of college graduates. At the meeting, the Ministry of Education said that according to its statistics, the number of fresh graduates from China's general colleges and universities is expected to reach 11.79 million in 2024, a rise of 210,000 compared to the previous year. The Ministry of Education claimed that in order to promote the employment of college graduates, colleges and universities in various regions must equip school-level employment staff in proportion. Recently, the Ministry of Education issued 26 measures in an attempt to resolve the employment crisis for college graduates. The measures also encourage graduates to flexibly engage in employment and independent entrepreneurship in various fields, including the creative economy, digital economy, and platform economy. The initiative underscores effective conscription efforts for college students and the expansion of the Urban and Rural Community Special Plan and the College Student Rural Doctor Special Plan. It supports the rural revitalization strategy, encouraging more graduates to work and initiate businesses in the central and western regions, the Northeast, and in remote and challenging areas at the grassroots level. Additionally, a precise assistance mechanism will be established, concentrating on challenging to employ graduate groups, such as those from impoverished families, families receiving subsistence allowances, zero-employment families, and individuals with disabilities. Financial commentator Gu Chuanqiu remarked these above actions appears to be a somewhat desperate attempt. He said, Xi Jinping is indeed panicking and incapable of addressing economic issues. These 26 measures are simply a heap of empty words and nonsense. Only the so-called enlistment, rural relocation, heading to the western regions, and going to the northwest, these actions are tangible. Because they align with Xi Jinping's notion of mandating students to go to the mountains and countryside. Currently, economic and employment challenges have emerged as the most significant insecurity factors threatening social stability. This is why the CCP's Ministry of Education is spouting such nonsense. In reality, there are numerous threats within. If you defy, it will create a file for you, and you will become a target for stability maintenance. China's economy, heavily reliant on private enterprises for 80% of employment, has faced severe repercussions from the stringent zero-COVID measures enforced by authorities over the past 3 years. Xi Jinping's state advancement, private sector retreat policy has inflicted a dual blow on private enterprises, resulting in the closure or impending shutdown of numerous businesses. Discussing entrepreneurship for college graduates, Mr. Zhu Gaofeng, currently in the United States, remarked, establishing a business domestically incurs significantly higher costs than in the United States. High rent, various health permits, business licenses, assorted certificates, and urban management garbage fees make opening a store an insurmountable challenge. Now, who would want to start a business? It's a definite loss. Even if people aren't certain whether you're profitable or incurring losses, in their eyes, you're a lucrative target. Everyone comes to exploit. All government departments intervene. Where can you persist? These government department vampires have already drained you dry. Gu Chuanqiu commented, currently, real estate is acting as a drag on China's economy. Chinese citizens burdened by substantial mortgage debts are reluctant to spend. Many enterprises, including banks, are grappling with operational challenges due to the real estate burden, leading to layoffs. Foreign supply chains are withdrawing, and business conditions are progressively worsening, especially in the service industry, with numerous closures of hotels, restaurants, and other establishments. The employment landscape is bleak. If you expect these recent college graduates to secure jobs, it's exceptionally challenging because there are insufficient enterprises to absorb them. Achieving full employment necessitates a highly prosperous economy. Traditionally, the service industry and real estate were primary labor absorbers, but now, these industries in China are virtually defunct. Where can these graduates find employment? Moody's lowered outlook for Hong Kong, Macau, and 8 mainland banks. Moody's lowered the outlook for 8 mainland Chinese banks from stable to negative on December 6 due to concerns about debt levels. The day before, the rating agency revised China's sovereign credit rating outlook from stable to negative. The 8 banks affected include 3 policy banks and 5 large state-owned commercial banks. They are the Agricultural Development Bank of China, China Development Bank, Export-Import Bank of China, Agricultural Bank of China, China Construction Bank, Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, and Postal Savings Bank of China. Although Moody's lowered the outlook for the 8 banks, it did not place them on the downgrade review list. Moody's issued a statement on Wednesday saying that the downgrade of the outlook of these financial institutions was mainly due to the adjustment of the government's credit rating outlook from stable to negative. Moody's expects support to be provided to entities in financial distress to be more selective, leading to long-term risks of further stress on state-owned enterprises and regional and local governments. The New York-based credit ratings firm also downgraded its outlook for Hong Kong and Macau to negative from stable on Wednesday. Moody's said there were signs that the autonomy of Hong Kong's political and judicial institutions had weakened following the implementation of the national security law. In addition, Moody's also lowered the rating outlook of 26 Chinese local government financing vehicles and 4 state-owned enterprises, and placed all 30 enterprises on the downgrade review list, which usually means that they will be reviewed within 3 months. On Tuesday, Moody's revised the outlook of China's sovereign credit rating from stable to negative, dealing another blow to the Chinese economy. Moody's explained that there is growing evidence that local governments and state-owned enterprises are heavily indebted and that Beijing will have to provide more fiscal support, which will have a negative impact on China's financial, economic, and institutional strength. Moody's also said that the downgrade of the rating outlook also reflects that China's economy will undergo structural changes, medium-term growth momentum will slow down, and the risk of continued contraction in the mainland's property market will increase. Emerging trend: middle-class Chinese flock to California in search of refuge. Recently, in the border communities of San Diego County, California, there has been a notable surge in the number of Chinese immigrants entering the United States illegally. Posts and videos on Chinese social media platforms offer detailed guidance for this new method of entry. Over the last 2 days, NewsNation identified hundreds of Chinese citizens in 2 different makeshift camps near Jacumba Hot Springs, a small town in San Diego County that has become the latest focal point for illegal border crossings. Most of them are Chinese single adult males. The NewsNation video highlights that these individuals, unlike previous Chinese immigrants who endured hardships and traveled thousands of miles to reach the U.S.-Mexico border, do not appear hungry and lack the exhausted appearance. They are dressed in clean clothes, standing next to their luggage. Due to language barriers, processing Chinese immigrants takes longer for border personnel, placing an additional burden on them. Immigration attorney Erica Pinheiro informed the New York Post, "The Chinese people I've encountered at the San Diego border, if not upper class, are at least middle class." According to law enforcement sources, these undocumented immigrants pay smugglers up to $35,000 to facilitate their entry from Mexico into the United States. Pinheiro noted, "Some of the people I've interviewed obtained travel visas as if they were going on vacation to Mexico, perhaps spending a week in a resort because they have money." This report has drawn attention from the U.S. political sphere, stating that this is abnormal, and emphasizing that they should not take this issue lightly or make excuses. In October, the U.S. Border Patrol arrested over 4,000 Chinese citizens, a significant increase from the 329 arrested during the same period last year. According to the Associated Press, AP, the United Nations estimates that due to significant damage to the Chinese economy during the zero-COVID period and a rise in youth unemployment, 310,000 people will leave China this year alone, and Chinese citizens rank as the 4th largest immigrant group entering the United States, following Venezuelans, Ecuadorians, and Haitians. Chinese youth trigger immigration wave, with Thailand as the top choice. Meanwhile, numerous young Chinese individuals, feeling uncertain about their career prospects, have recently opted to immigrate to Chiang Mai, Thailand, where the pace of life is slower and prices are relatively low, particularly after Moody's, the international credit rating agency, revised the Chinese government's credit rating outlook to negative on Tuesday, December 5. And the international media are closely watching whether there will be any improvement in the future Chinese economy. The search volume for immigration surged, reaching a peak of 510 million searches in a single day in October, as reported. Unlike Western countries, Thailand provides various types of long-term visas, including a 1-year student visa for language courses, with fees ranging from $700 to $1,800, making migration relatively straightforward. In late January of this year, searches for immigrate to Thailand peaked at 300,000 in a single day. Furthermore, according to Mr. Chen Lifu, president of the Taiwan Professor Association, after the U.S.-China trade war, Western countries have heightened scrutiny on Chinese immigrants concerning security and funds. Thailand, with its geographical advantages and other factors, has become the preferred choice. Chen Lifu mentioned, relatively speaking, Thailand is a quasi-capitalist and free country, relatively prosperous, where money is more useful, and it is more friendly. Recently, China and Thailand expanded their tourism agreement, so they particularly welcome Chinese people. Furthermore, there are already many overseas Chinese in Thailand, allowing those choosing to immigrate to Thailand to immediately integrate into an existing community and find work promptly. In many places, there might be language barriers and fewer job opportunities for Chinese people. Don't forget to comment in the section below to share your opinions on today's topic with us. If you find the information helpful, please share this video with a friend to watch together. This will be a great source of motivation for our team to produce more and more quality and reliable videos. And also don't forget to like and subscribe to see more interesting topics from China Truths. Thank you for tuning in.